All right, welcome one and all to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am your host, John, and if you could, hit that subscribe button, live a little on the edge, hit that like button, and let's get to it for the world of sports on Wednesday, August 20th. And I'm going to go a little off the rails here. I'm going to start with a story nobody's really reporting. I saw AP reported that Jake Paul, the YouTube influencer, pseudo boxer, who's coming off a victory, a legitimate victory, over Julio Cesar Jr. And believe me, there is a big difference between junior and senior in the boxing ring. And he has signed to fight Gervonta Davis. His nickname is Tank. This guy is an animal. I respect that Jake Paul wants to win a world title. This is the wrong guy. This guy legitimately can hurt Jake Paul. I'm hoping that the post by AP is incorrect. I hope he hasn't signed. The tentative date is in November. There is a huge difference between somebody who is 100th in the world. Let's give Jake Paul some credit. He is a very hard worker. He hasn't tried to take any shortcuts. He's fought a lot of MMA fighters. He's worked his way up. The Julio Cesar thing was semi-impressive. Gervonta Davis is a different animal. First of all, when you're a boxer and they name you Tank, that's a sign. There's something going on. I hope Jake Paul does not get in the ring with him. I like Jake Paul, but this is the wrong guy at the wrong place to get in the squared circle. He wants to win a world title? Believe me, there's plenty of other alphabet soup titles out there. Please, Jake, for your life, for the life of your kids and your girlfriend and your mom and dad, do not get in the squared circle with this guy. This guy is a monster. He may not be in the top 2 or 3, but that don't mean you're in his league. This guy can hurt you. All right. We also get a report. Let's talk about some NFL news. That there was a bullet fired into Andy Reid, the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, his office in 2024. Now he has bulletproof glass in his office. I'm trying to understand, why is it taking so long for this story to kind of come out? Like, what's that? What are they inferring here? Why are you bringing it out now? Why didn't you bring it out then? What's the angle here? There's just something really weird that's going on here. And I don't know if somebody in the press was ready to break the story and that's why they were forthcoming about it. But it just seems a really odd thing at a really odd time as we're getting ready for the season. More NFL news. Brian Schottenheimer, the new coach of your Dallas Cowboys, has said that he expects Micah Parsons to be playing in week 1. Micah Parsons, I'm just going to say he's an idiot. He should have held out last year like CD Lamb did. They got him for $3 million last year. He took all the injury risk. And then he goes to camp. He's a quote-unquote hold-in. I understand the $50,000, but the Cowboys have you under contract on the 5th-year option. It's really not even a contract you negotiated. It's just set down by the CBA. If you would have held out, you'd have got your $45 million, $43 million, whatever you would have got. Now you're going to play for $24. You know, just so you could save $50,000 a day for 30 days, okay, it's $1.5 million. I am not saying it's inconsequential, but when you're looking at $24 million and $45 million, between this year and last year, he's looking at $28 million. Okay, 27 some change. So let's just call it 28. He would have signed the contract last year. Let's go with the numbers last year. He probably would have got a 4-year deal worth about $120, $130, something like that. He's very young. He would have been 25 back then. You know, you're going to be averaging 30, 31 million. You're leaving $32, $33 million on the table because you want to keep a hold in so you don't get fined. They're going to use your loyalty to the team against you. I mean, Jerry Jones was negotiating with you without an agent. You said you come into the office, you thought it was a team building exercise, and then he tries to ramrod you into a contract that, of course, they don't go to your agent afterwards, which, of course, is a violation of the CBA. They are not allowed to negotiate with you directly if you do have an agent. It saves the players from after a game, the owner or the GM coming in and strong-arming them for a deal, especially if they have a bad game. I don't understand. The guy's going to probably play in week 1. He is insane. I hope you don't get hurt. That's all I can say. I am pro player on pro player. We're talking about millionaires versus billionaires. We're talking about Jerry Jones, who's got a team that's worth $10, $12 billion. We're talking about a guy who's trying to get a contract for $150 million in 4 years, for 4 years. There's a huge difference. Like 100-fold? Even at 150? Jesus. 49ers, DeMarcus Robinson, as Kyle Shanahan has said, is suspended for 3 games for a misdemeanor DUI. Yeah. So the 49ers trying to shore up their wide receiver position, which with Brendan Ayuk out until 6th or 7th game, is incredibly shaky. They traded for Kansas City Sky Moore, a former second-round draft pick. Really never came to light there, but Kyle Shanahan is just really good on the offensive side of the ball. There could be a rejuvenation there. The Jets, they traded for 2 defensive tackles, Harrison Phillips from the Vikings, and the Browns, Jawan Briggs. We all know what this is. These are 2 guys who are good players, but they were going to get cut by their team. If you see anybody this week getting traded, I'm telling you right now, more than likely they were going to get cut. They were on the cut line of the 54-man roster that's coming up in a week and a half. They're trying to get some value, especially when they have the trade and it goes, a late round pick. Literally, for the 49ers, Sky Moore, they said, it's going to be a late round pick. They weren't even specific. It's going to be one of those, if he takes 300 snaps, it's going to be a 5th round pick, things like that. All right, let's talk about baseball just real quick. We're going to do a show with Brian today. The Yankees tied the MLB record for 14 home runs in 2 games. It was in that bandbox that was known as, formerly, it's not even Tropicana Field, it's Steinbrenner Field. They're playing the Yankees' little home away from home. Just a disgrace. I watched the Athletics game against the Angels last week, and I'm like, Jesus, how do they play? How do they play in this thing? It should be like a high school field, but we have that going for us. Also in NCAA football, we have a nice little note. The Arkansas fans are now going to get, after a big win, they're going to get a 3-minute timer, and then they can rush the field to avoid a $500,000 SEC fine. Arkansas, I like Sam Pittman. I think he's a good coach, but he just doesn't seem to be getting big-time wins at all. So I'm going to say they're not going to have to really worry about the 3-minute clock this year, right? It's just what it is. They're not going to get it. It's what it is. Come on. I got a little booger here. Yeah, I know, right? Hey, we're doing stuff. I got flies, I got gnats, I got all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, I wonder if there's 2 people out there. If you could, hit that like button. Tell me you're alive out there. All right, let's talk about what happened in Major League Baseball for Wednesday, August 20th. Pirates beat the Blue Jays 2-1. Ovlindo gets the win. Yeah, Bassett got the loss. Do not underestimate the rotation that is the Toronto Blue Jays. I really liked him at the beginning of the year, but I was worried they were going to trade Vlad Guerrero. They stepped up. They manned up. They signed him. The year's been going pretty incredible. They're 20 games over 500. They're actually under 500 on the road, 32-33, but man, at home, 21 games over 500. The Phillies beat the Mariners again. The Mariners are really in a slump. Phillies win 11-2. Luzardo gets your win. Castillo takes the loss. I've watched Castillo a couple times this year, and God, he is good. I'm just surprised when any of the starters for the Mariners lose. It seems like a real big upset. Mariners are playing good baseball, though. They're 18 Well, no, they're 8 games. Excuse me. 68 and 60, they're 8 games over 500. Thought they were a little higher up there. I guess this slump has affected them a little more than you think. Tigers took on the slumping Astros, win 7-2. It wasn't until the 28th pitch that Framber Valdez, got an out. Jesus Christ. Not good. Morton, the offcast from Baltimore, got his 4th win for the Detroit Tigers. He is 9-10 now. Wow. Bargain basement. There you go. Maybe he'll actually make the playoff roster. Diamondbacks beat the Guardians 3-2 in 10. Nothing to see there. Marlins beat the Cardinals 6-2, and every time I think the Cardinals are going to get going, God, they just shoot themselves in the foot. Alcantara gets the win for the Marlins, 7-11 with a 6.0 ERA. Yeah, I just don't know if he's ever going to get that magic back. I'm rooting for the guy. I dig the guy. Brian's a huge fan. He thought the Red Sox should have traded for him. The Nationals beat the Mets 5-4. We're in the dog days of August. These games, they don't mean something, but they sure do. That might come back to haunt the Mets down the stretch run. The Braves beat the White Sox 1-0. Yeah, the Braves, we're looking at 58 and 69. 11 games under 500. How is this team that is so bloody good that far underneath? Yankees, 14 home runs in the last 2 games in that bandbox that Tampa Bay plays in. They beat the Rays in 10, 6-4. Yeah, nothing to see there. Athletics beat the Twins in 10, 4-2. Kelly gets the win, 3-2 with a 2.8 ERA. Rangers finally come out of their terrible tailspin. They win 6-3 over the Royals, take 1 game, the finale of it. Milner gets the win there. Cubs actually had a very good series against the best team in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers. They won 4-3. Carlos Ray got the win. He's 10-5 with the 3.9. And I saw something very interesting. It was disclosed that Kyle Tucker, who is a free agent after this year, who was having an amazing year up until the end of July and has literally done a kamikaze into the ground for the month of August, hitting about 196. He had a hairline fracture and he kept playing through it. Pat Murphy of Milwaukee says he just doesn't look like himself. Duh. There is times, we all want the guys to man up, to play, to help the team, but if they don't produce, they're not helping the team. And we're seeing that case with Kyle Tucker, and I wonder how much, and in the hundreds of millions, is this going to cost him when it comes time in the offseason for free agency? Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani got lit up in his first visit as a pitcher to Coors Field. Rockies win 8-3. Ohtani is 0-1 with a 4.6 ERA. I know most of his starts he hasn't pitched enough to actually get a decision. So this was the second one he actually had, but he got the loss. He got raped. Angels finally took the final game against the Cincinnati Reds 2-1. They took their first lead in the series in the 8th inning of the final game, but they get the win. Detmers gets the win. Kaluki was just amazing. 1 run over 7 innings. Something else. Finally, the Padres score a little. They win 8-1 over the Giants. Sheets hits 2 of San Diego's 4 home runs. Tatis robs Devers as the Padres win. And God, did they need that win. Yeah, okay. If you could, though, please, we need you to like and subscribe. So hit that subscribe and then go over there and hit that button with the big thumbs up. We appreciate it. And we'll see you soon on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.